guarantees.
Right.
It's a privately owned company. It has nothing to do with the actual federal government. We borrow money from, our government borrows money from a private bank.
Right. Right.
And then when we want to try and take control of it, as Bernanke just said in the clip, if you want to take back control of your monetary policy, well, then you're going to have another thing coming, because basically we're going to go ahead and then implode the dollar.
Oof. Man, this is kind of like they got us over a different kind of barrel. I haven't seen this before. So,
well, luckily we have HR 1207, that another great patriot, and I'm surprised how this man has lasted so long in the federal government. But Ron Paul co-sponsored HR 1207 with about 29 other congressmen to audit the Fed. And that actually got all of the votes that it needed to pass Congress, and now went on to the Senate floor. So now the Senate just needs to vote for it, and we could very well see exactly what Bernanke does not want, and that's a whole-scale audit of the Federal Reserve.
Well, that could be a good thing or a bad thing, but it depends on how it plays out. You know, the scenario may play out in our favor, but at the same time, they may try to do something stupid like enact martial law or something like that.
Well, and trust me, that's the thing that, you know, Obama's not going to want this to pass.
Of course not.
Obama doesn't want the Fed to be audited. Otherwise, he wouldn't have put Tim Geithner, who is a lackey for Ben Bernanke, in charge of making monetary policy for the United States.
Right.
So that it's great that you have, you know, you got Geithner over here who's working for Obama now, setting the monetary policy, but they're not going to want to have a whole scale audit of the Fed, because they don't want the American people to know where the money is going, and the money is going. It's being funneled out to, you know, international banks. Half of the TARP money and I wouldn't say half, because that's giving it quite a lot of credit. I'd say maybe a third of the money that we had just passed during that last round of banker bailouts, the Obama banker bailouts.
Right.
About a good third of it went to international banks, like Royal Bank of Scotland got a whole big chunk of that money. The IMF, the International Monetary Fund, got a couple of $100 billion.
Didn't the Cayman Bank get a lot too? I heard something about that.
Well, no, Goldman Sachs got a bunch of it, and Goldman Sachs has, I mean, essentially the money is going over there, because then what they're doing is they're funneling those funds that they got from the federal government, and they're funneling them over to their Cayman corporations.
Wow.
So by default, yeah, a lot of money is going to the Caymans.
So this...
But it was being given to actual banks, but the banks don't tell you where the money is going.
Right. Well, you know, to me, this sounds almost like a large organized crime laundering operation. That's what it seems like.
And it is, and that's the thing. When you consider that just the Federal Reserve aspect is just one proponent of the complete takeover. Because once they bankrupt you, then they got you over a barrel. Then they can do anything you want, because if you don't have money, you have to go to the government.
Right, exactly. And then the nanny state's created, yes.
So, and it's not just that. I mean, but we saw this during, you know, Obama's campaigning.
Yep.
It's not that he actually announced to a crowd in San Francisco that he wants to, you know, kill the coal industry, while not providing any sort of alternative fuel measures. It's like everybody's got an idea. Oh, we need to get rid of pollution, but nobody has a good idea of what to replace, you know, fossil fuels with.
Well, it's kind of almost like the solar panels on the top of the skyscrapers in Seattle, which you and I both know that doesn't make any sense, because it only gets like maybe...
I'll tell you right now, straight up. I lived in Seattle for a year. About a good two-thirds of the year, there's no sunshine at all.
Exactly.
The only time you have sun in Seattle is late spring, all the way through summer until early fall.
Yep.
And then early fall, and then all throughout winter, and then into early spring, you got almost 3/4 of the whole year is cloudy and overcast.
Yeah. So you're not going to get any solar, and then we had the whole thing.
No, but and see, that's the thing. That's stupid because in Seattle you have a lot of other viable, technologies that you can use. You can harness the power of the Puget Sound and do hydroelectric and make a boatload of free energy that way.
Oh heck,
but
you could use the volcanoes in the region even for hydro, or what is that? Where you can actually use the gases and the magma of the volcanoes to power energy as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of other, renewable energy alternatives in the Pacific Northwest that you could use that make a hell of a lot more sense than solar power. Why are you going to solar power a place that doesn't get sun for 2/3 of the year?
Yeah, that's my point too. And then you had the wetland mice thing, where I think it was like $30 billion went to go save some vermin in the swamp. That was pretty.
Well, see, that's where you're kind of hitting home with me. I think projects like that, are necessary, and I don't think it was $30 billion. It was actually $30 million.
Oh, okay. Maybe I have my numbers off.
Which really isn't quite as much as it sounds. $30 million isn't all that great, considering that we just gave a couple of $1 trillion to banks.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Hang on just a second here. Let me check on something. Okay. And I'm going to have to put the phone down real quick. Hang on just a second.
Okay. Okay.
You making poop? You have to go potty?
Well, I'm going to put him on hold for just a second here. Basically, to reiterate, Alex Jone produced this film, and I have a lot of respect for him as a filmmaker. Now, I'm sure all of you are well aware that I did bash Michael Moore pretty hard on the capitalism love affair film. But, Alex Jone, hats off to you. It takes a lot of gumption to get out there and actually make a stand. So I'm going to check back in with John. John, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, sorry about that. I put you on hold because there was a lot of background noise. So, all right, so where were we? Where were we here?
Well, basically, I was just saying that the Federal Reserve is just one aspect of the overall control that Obama is trying to exert.
Right.
Now, I've told you in the past that there was, and I'm not sure if you read it or not, but did you check out the MIAC report when I sent it to you?
Yes, I actually am going to have that posted on the website for KDCH.
And the Virginia Fusion Terror Threat Assessment?
Yep. Yeah, those will be on two websites I control, which is KDCH 710 and this other one, which I'll send you a link to.
And so those are two documents right there that show that the federal government and the military is getting involved in local law enforcement, which is a direct violation of the Posse Comitatus Act.
Well, it's also a direct violation of our Second Amendment right, too.
How so?
Well, because they want to take our firearms, and we are not allowed to form our own militias to defend ourselves. So,
no, it's not that you're not allowed to form a militia.
Hmm?
You're still allowed to form a militia. You're still allowed to keep and bear arms. They're not infringing on those rights as of right now. But what they're saying is that if you form a militia, you're going to be on a terror watch list because you're a suspected terrorist.
right.
They're not going to outright disarm you because they can't.
Yeah.
They're just going to put you on a watch list.
Right. Which means you'll be stuck on the do not fly list, like I saw in that Obama deception. Some 7-year-old kid was put on the do not fly list.
Not only that, but Rahm Emanuel wants to pass a law that says that if you're on the do not fly list, you can't buy a firearm. So they're not going to destroy the Second Amendment outright, but they're going to put so many restrictions on it that nobody's going to be able to get a gun. and that's how the death of the Second Amendment is going to come about.